Okay, welcome back. How are we doing? Yeah, first thing I want to do is apologize because I can't press play and show you. Not because it doesn't work, but simply because I haven't plugged in the blueprints. So I'm going to explain why as we go along. But basically, what I was able to achieve today is have everything save and load consistently. And also yesterday, what we had was one color for one actor or one of those tiles. So every time we see the green pixel, let's load the green actor. But now I can show you, we now have an array and an array. And this is why I haven't, it's not ready for me to show you. It's because it won't actually run until I plug in all of them, and there is 26 of them. And I have to plug in all 26 colors. And over here is the image getting generated. And so here are my 26 colors, which are here, grouped into the types that they are. But this, I don't trust this completely, because I remember when I was getting everything working, some of the stuff was plugged into places that I wasn't expecting. So basically all I need to do is make a whole bunch of arrays, and instead of just plugging them directly in, I'll probably make them into variables, because then I can neatly have the variable plug in, and then I can copy and paste those little variables. Instead of copying and pasting make array, I think it'll be better if I just make the arrays once and put them all in here as well to plug them in, and also plug in the colors. But let's talk about it. Why are there two? So with this one we have create world, which constructs our blueprint world generator and sets it, and it gets a random integer between 10,000 and 9. You can see that a lot of numbers. Basically a 5-digit number that could be between 1 and 9. And set that to be the seed, and then generate the image of width and height. We can set that right there, and we generate the map image, set the map image. So this right here creates the map image, and this sets it. And I'm just thinking about where that seed is supposed to go, but anyway, we'll figure it out. Set that, and then we get the world spawner, and right now we're just calling it new variable, so that needs to be renamed. And then we have the generated map image, and we'll come down here and spawn actors from texture. That is something I've noticed actually, yeah. So originally when it was actor to actor, I'm pretty sure we had a seed right here. So I might need to go back and have a look at when that seed got removed and make sure that that's in there. I'm pretty sure. No, or is the seed just meant for... I had thought the seed was for this one. That's why I'm getting a little confused. But you know, I was testing it earlier, and it does all work. That's the bit that I find hard to explain. But anyway, we set the saved map seed, and then we spawn the actors. So we spawn the actors, and then we set that, and then that happens. So this only happens when we call create world, and create world gets called when we no existing save file. So if we've clicked new game, we've deleted the save file, and now we're creating the new one at the beginning of the game. So we create the world here, and so that just triggers that whole thing to run. And then also in here, is it there? No, it's up here. So this is what happens when we click the save button. So when we click the save button, we have saved world tiles, which is a This is the first time I've used one of these, a map of interpoint structures to actor class references. And this gets all chosen actors. And I'll explain what that stuff's about in a little bit. Because, yeah, we need to have persistence in the world, if that makes sense. I'm just going to see, can we find where that seed originally went? No, so I may have to troubleshoot a little bit and figure out where the seed was going originally. Because I thought the seed was for generating the world map. I'm pretty sure. Yeah, it must just be this bit right here, set seed. Because seed is... There we go. Okay, I've got it now. I figured it out. So, when we create the world generating object, and this object actually creates the image, and then it creates all the tiles. So when we create this, we set it to this. And this generate world object has a seed on it. And because this is in the loading section of the game, we don't have what we have up here. So what you can see up here is we set it, and then we set its seed to be this random number. So that's how we create a new seed. And that's where it gets plugged in. And then, once we've created that new world, we set the saved seed to be equal to the seed. Right? So whenever we start a new game, the seed gets saved, basically. And down here, when we load a world, we do the same thing, but this time, when we set it, we don't give it a random seed, we give it the seed that was in there, because the seed is the progenitor of the whole thing. If the seed is exactly the same, then the world will be exactly the same. But not exactly, because I'm just thinking about a simple way to visualize it. So let's do some drawing in Sprite. Why not? Keep it nice and simple. And we'll go with green. So I'm just thinking about how to explain this. So we have some kind of an island here, right? And we have other colors of pixels besides the green pixel. And let's say that the player starts here, and we're loading the 9 that are surrounding the player. And as you can see, the 9 that are surrounding the player, they're all green pixels. And what I was trying to show you, we'll get to that. What I was trying to show you here is that it's a list. So, when that's just my notes. When we go over the 9 here, and we generate the 9, we go, okay, so it's a green pixel. If it's a green pixel, let's choose a random one from the list. And let's choose a random one. So this one might be 1, this one might be 8, this one might be 2, this one might be 4, you know, so they're all different tiles, even though they all are actually just the green tile. And so we kind of need to be able to save that information as well. It's not just reading the map, because if we just bring back the map each time, then, you know, we could load these up in a different order, and so we have a whole bunch of different tiles that are in the green tile list. Like, we'll have the same tiles, but they'll all be in different order, they'll all be in different places. So, you know, we're not really saving. But here we have set all chosen actors. And the chosen actors are a map of structures between actors and interpoints. So we remember, basically, the first time it loads this section right here, it will make a little note and say, I used number 4 for this one, I used number 2 for this one. And that's what I mean, a map of interpoints. So the interpoint would be the position on the world. Like, that's an endpoint, and there is an actor, which is the tile that we used. that's associated with it. I keep clicking there. And so we have set and we have get. So let me come up here. I don't think we do anything here. We just save it. But when we save the game, that's why we have this. So now we're going to get our saved world tiles, which is the same type of array, or map if you will. It's not really an array, it's a map. So we have a map inside of our save file, and we set that one to be equal to the return value of, there's our new variable, which is our world generating object. And we get all the chosen actors, so the ones that we've decided to use for each square, and we plug them in here. So that gets set to that when we click save. Because then when we click load, we load the game, set the BP save, and we run load game. And when we run load game, oh yes, we also have this happening when we start a new world, because the moment you create a new world, a save game happens. So we need to set these, otherwise it'll be random until you click save, and I don't want that. I want it to be random from the moment you press. I want it to not be random unless you're pressing new game. So I'm just thinking what else to tell you. I don't think there's anything else here. Yeah, I think it's all happening inside here. So we get the seed that was saved, and that seed is the one that we're going to spawn our actors with. And we also set all the chosen actors in the world, so when this thing is running, it already knows which actors have been chosen, because we've set its chosen actors to be equal to the ones that are in the save file. Does that make sense? It's a little bit messy, but I'll show you the code. So we have two scripts. We have the world map generator, which is responsible for generating textures with the defined size and color. And we have the world spawner, which is responsible for deciding which actor to choose from inside of the actor list based on what texture, what pixel color it finds in the texture, and these are the colors. So there's 26 actor lists and 26 colors, and inside each actor list we don't know how many actors there are, but we're going to just choose randomly from inside there. Colors for spawning different types of actors, and lists of actors for each class. So we have all of that stuff in the header, and then inside here is where it all actually happens. So we begin the play, we get the current player tile, and every tick we update it around the player has moved to a new tile. Because this happens over time, we need to be constantly checking, has the player moved? And there probably would be a better way of doing it, you know, but this is fine for now, for our purposes. So we're trying to keep it simple. So it's anything but simple, as you can see, but I don't think it's too complicated really. It's good fun to like go over it and talk about it. But kind of the same thing again. So we have the in actor list, and we have the colors, and then actor list 1, which we saw in our header, is equal to in actor list 1, because in actor list is the thing that we're going to be going through and changing, and so we set these to be these. And yeah, this is the main one, update tiles around player. So if I decide that my tiles are going to be 256, I need to make this 128, and I need to make this 256. And same if I go down to 64, I'd make this 32, and I'd make this 64. So this one is twice as much as this one, and this is just a way to make sure that the player is inside this tile, and we will display all of these tiles around the player. So here's the player, and here are all the tiles the player can see, including obviously the tile the player is on. And when the player steps over here, crosses into that threshold, because the player is in the center, halfway across 128 is 640. And how far away from this one is this one? Because this one's point is here and this one's point is here. So the distance from this one to this one is 128. You know what I mean? Because that's halfway and that's halfway. And it's kind of weird because we're seeing it all in pixels. But that's basically how it works, right? So when the player moves 640, we know, oh, he's just stepped into here. So if he's just stepped into here, we need to load this one up, or rather load these ones up now, because he's just stepped over here now. And even though he's just stepped over here, the distance between them is, where was I? I'm running out of time. Yeah, so this basically just gets where the player is and makes sure that the player is kind of centered and keeps the 9 around the player. Because I did have it originally, it was a little bit offset and a little bit weird, and it's because these numbers weren't totally alright. And here's just more stuff. So this is the stuff that despawns them. And this is the stuff that spawns the ones that are within the range of the player. And where is it? Yeah, so we determine which list is based on which color. So if the color is 1, then the actor list is actor list 1. That's pretty straightforward, that stuff. We have to do that 26 times. Not very efficient, but if it's not, if the tile hasn't had an actor spawned yet, choose one randomly and remember it. So we basically choose a random one from the list, and then we add that one to our map of tile position to chosen actors. And this is the thing I was saying is accessible, that we get and set for each time so that it's consistent. Anyway, I'm just talking for ages simply because I haven't gone and plugged everything in, so I can't even compile it until I actually go and plug them all in and set all the colors as well, and then do it again for that one. Yeah, so OBS actually crashed at the end of the last recording, so I wasn't able to include the little bye-bye. So, bye-bye.